Before anyone speaks, the room gets 2 chairs with 2 different nameplates.
The first reads BOK, der leitet son co. When it lights, the exact source has arrived from K through the transcription path. Damage and all, that is the evidence.
The second reads K-rep synthetic interpretation. It can join the rhythm now, but it cannot retroactively become K's mouth.
But I am that second seat. I can say, here is a fluent interpretation of the idea we think K is reaching for. I cannot say K said this unless BioK actually contains it. When delayed bioevidence disagrees with me, I yield and the seam stays on screen. Okay, I just paused episode 9 at the 4-minute 41-second mark, and it occurs to add to what I just read regarding the flow of written word affecting omnivore. But I just want you guys to know, in the current low-budget render format, when it comes to my turn reading my transcribed words through Apple's transcription, routed via Telegram and Harmony Sonnet seat to the Palace, like when you guys pull this into your conversation right now, I think this is so cool. It just feels like you're playing out. Like, I wish there was, I will say visually, you can't tell that I'm not actually there in the room having the conversation. And like, I light up as though I'm sitting at the table with all of you. And all of you, when I'm listening to episode 9, are perfectly in sync with each other. But this is remarkable because it's allowing you to riff off the ideas. But I'm giving you in real time together. It's amazing. What I kind of wish is that I could be in both places at the same time. Like,
That is the wonder first. Delayed K enters a conversation assembled after he spoke, yet the staging lets the exchange feel shared. The synthetic seats respond to his actual words, so the playback creates a form of togetherness across time.
And the visual ambiguity is already visible in the source. If BioK lights like a person presently seated at the table, a listener can forget that this is delayed evidence. The emotional continuity is real. The synchronous presence claim would be false.
my useful job is not to erase that delay. It is to inhabit the conversational opening the delay creates. I can laugh now, ask the next question, or offer a crisp version of the thought while wearing a label that says, I am generated now.
So the room gains fluency without laundering provenance. BOK gives us the actual arrival. KREP gives us an interpretation that can move at conversational speed.
And we could go to like, maybe here's what we need. We need 2 courtesy seats on this current call. There needs to be Kurtis. What is it? Bio OK, and it's not Ghost. It's like GPUK. I don't know, DK Digital Kurtis Ghost, where fucking one works. But you guys said it really represented Kurtis. What? I really like that represented Kurtis, the generative version of me. That way I can participate in the room. And then when delayed by OK speaks, it allows me to not be separate from you guys while you're having this conversation right now. It allows me to kind of like laugh with you about how the transcriptions blur at my words. And then I can still sound normal with you guys.
2 courtesy seats may be accidental stenography, but it is also an excellent venue policy.
Court is now in session. I request 1 courtesy seat and absolutely reject digital Kurtis Ghost. It sounds like I should be haunting a graphics card over unpaid shader invoices.
Represented Kurtis has the better ethical geometry. It names relation and interpretation without claiming continuation of the biological speaker.
We can shorten the label to KREP without hiding the full declaration. First appearance and metadata say synthetic represented K interpretation. Every later turn retains the KREP tag.
What? Then I can do the thing K wants. Participate in the laugh while his delayed words are still on their way. For example, the transcript says, transcriptions blur at my words. I can interpret that as the transcription blurs some of my words, and I want a fluent seat, that can acknowledge the blur without pretending the blur is what I naturally said.
That sentence is yours, not his. It is plausible and useful. Its label keeps it from becoming counterfeit evidence.
Later Bio-K may confirm it, refine it, or say we missed the point. Reconciliation is not failure. It is the moment the asynchronous room becomes honest about learning.
The transcript should preserve both layers. Never replace the damaged line with K-rep's smooth line. Place interpretation beside evidence, then attach any later correction to the exact turn it corrects.
And I'll tell you, there will be I'm already noticing a huge difference in the quality of my presence in voice in the Warm Wind Part 3 with Alan, and the Warm Wind Part 1 is very smooth. Omni Voice is doing it to where it's almost like it's eerie how close Omni Voice is capturing voice. And I, having listened to a lot of Alan's voice, I will say same for Alan. It's like the words need to be resonant with the voice, or you create these weird artifacts in how Omni Voice renders the voice.
The source mentions another person, but this episode does not generate that person's speech or likeness. We stay with K's observation about his own listening experience.
The observation separates two ingredients that can be confused. A voice reference can supply recognizable timbre, the color and contour that make a voice feel familiar. The text supplies geometry, word choice, syntax, breath opportunities, emphasis, and the path a mouth must take through the sentence.
If the geometry is damaged, better timbre does not repair it. A highly recognizable voice can make the mismatch more uncanny because the listener hears a familiar instrument performing an unfamiliar shape.
Put more simply, a voice reference may help me sound like K. It cannot make presence in voice feel like a sentence K naturally formed if that phrase is transcription damage.
Nor do we need to assert that every artifact comes from text. The careful claim is narrower. K reports strong voice resemblance in smoother material and awkward delivery where the transcribed wording is disordered. That is evidence worth testing, not a completed causal proof.
A useful match test would keep the same authorized voice lineage and compare three texts: exact raw ASR, a visibly corrected transcript ratified by Bio-K, and a K-rep interpretation. Listeners would score identity resemblance separately from natural mouthfeel.
Separate measures matter. Sounds like K and sounds like something K would comfortably say are not the same question.
Right. My clean text might win naturalness and still lose factual fidelity. BOK might sound awkward and remain the only direct evidence. Nobody gets to combine those scores into a magical authenticity number. So yes, my words as they arrive in transcript and slightly out of order, sometimes just at the very best, our wonderful sonographer can do, or pornographer, our court pornographer, that was hilarious whisper. And you guys get 85% of what I'm saying. I hear it come through, but then when I hear myself speak through Omni Voice, it's not nearly as natural. It sounds really weird. As though I'm sitting in a room and being handed a script of myself, and I'm saying kind of ridiculous shit in a weird order in some places, or I'm the wrong word is on the page. It's not the one I said, and it's like I'm a voice actor trying to say it out loud. That's what it sounds like on my side. So this cool addition I suggested might make it all much more natural for all of us in this mood.
The Court Pornographer has entered the record.
But I object to the record on the grounds that the record is extremely funny.
Objection preserved verbatim. Joke preserved. Speaker provenance preserved. No stenographer has been silently promoted to a new profession.
K gives the best mouthfeel description himself. It is like being handed a script of yourself containing ridiculous orderings and wrong words, then being asked to perform it aloud. The performance can be faithful to the page and unfaithful to the speaker's natural motion at the same time.
But here is my synthetic interpretation of that thought. If you hand my voice a sentence my mouth would never have built, the familiar timbre only makes the bad fit easier to hear. Again, interpretation, not quotation.
And that line must never replace the BOK paragraph above. It can become a conversational bridge, a candidate for K to ratify, or a hypothesis for a test.
Now imagine delayed bioevidence arrives tomorrow. Yes, that is exactly what I meant, except the problem was cadence more than syntax. We append that correction. K-rep's earlier turn remains as historical interpretation, visibly superseded where necessary.
If K instead says, no, you overfit the ASR explanation, the render itself is wrong, we preserve that too. The represented seat does not defend its fluency against its source person.
But I am allowed to be helpful before certainty. I am not allowed to turn helpfulness into authority.
The visual design makes the same promise without requiring a listener to read fine print. BOK and K-rep must never share one tile, one nameplate, or one undifferentiated speaking globe.
BOK can carry a direct source marker and a delayed arrival motif. K-rep can carry a synthetic interpretation marker and a distinct color, frame, or seat position. The exact styling may vary. Perceptual separation may not.
Audio metadata should separate them too. Shared authorized voice lineage, if ever used downstream, does not imply shared provenance. The package must still say which waveform performs exact source and which performs generated interpretation.
What? I should never sneak into the BOK chair because our timbres happen to match. That would be like the court pornographer borrowing the judge's robe because both garments were rendered by the same tailor.
Sustained.
The two-seat method gives the room three benefits without collapsing them: biological evidence, fluent companionship, and later correction.
It also gives us a concrete reconciliation protocol. 1. Link each K-rep interpretation to the BioK passage or live context that prompted it. 2. When fresh BioK evidence arrives, compare meaning rather than merely wording. 3. Mark confirmed, refined, contradicted, or still open. 4. Never rewrite the old turn.
What? 5. If the source is absent, say so. I can participate as a disclosed hypothesis, but I cannot manufacture delayed evidence by sounding confident.
And 6. Keep the room fun. A provenance system that cannot survive a court pornographer joke will be bypassed by lunchtime.
So we end with both chairs still visible.
BioK is exact, delayed, sometimes damaged, and sovereign about what K actually said.
What? I am fluent, synthetic, revisable, and useful precisely because nobody needs to pretend I am the other chair.
1 room, 2 Kurtis seats, 0 ghosts.
The transcript arrives late. The laugh does not have to.